June 21st, 9:48 a.m. District Court Defendant, Lobby number 3. Oh boy. Let's begin. The second trial of this game. Oh boy. Things start really picking up. It gets really good. What? Oh god. Prosecutor Von Karma, you mean? No, I heard it's a successor this time. Successor? Manfred Von Karma was a really sinister man. He built all sorts of nasty tricks. Also, he could win. He was a man obsessed with the word perfection. He had a perfect record for 40 long years. Who knows what sort of dirty tricks they used to get each of those guilty verdicts? And now his successor, I wonder what kind of person they will turn out to be. It's no good. Mystic Maya! Pearly! You showed up! Thanks for coming all this way! I was really worried about you. Hey, where's your mother? Didn't you two come together? Mother is watching over the trainees. He said they have training for 2 days straight with no breaks. Then you came all by yourself? Yep, I snuck out of the manor and followed him. Don't tell me you walked all the way here. Of course not! I ran! That's I can't. Oh my! It takes 2 hours by train. Oh man! Pearly, what about the train? What's a train? Oh boy. I give up. This child did too much. It's time, isn't it? I'm really scared. What if Von Karma tried to do something to me? At least I know Mr. Edgeworth would be nicer to me than Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth? Who's that? He's Nick's rival. Well, he's also a friend.
Objection!
I still remember him as though I only seen him yesterday.
Objection!
Every trial was a scorchingly fierce battle until the very end.
Objection!
Objection! He's always back and forth with them, but when you're rivals for life... Maya! Please don't mention that name ever again. But why, Nick? I'm sorry, I forgot you don't know. He's gone. He's not coming back. What? Wait a second, what's that supposed to mean? Court will begin. Commence shortly. Please proceed into the courtroom. Let's go. Now's not time to talk about this anyway. Nick. June 21st, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Court is now in session for the trial of Maya Fey. All the prosecution and the defense prepared. What is with this kid? Mr. Wright, are you prepared? Huh? Oh, yes, Your Honor. Why does he always seem mad at me? Time for the fact that I'm not going to be able to pick out a good voice for her. Oh, boy. I can't do a German accent. I'm not good at German accent, no. So I have no idea what I'm going to do. That's her. Mr. Phoenix Wright. Fuck. I'm going to figure it out. You must be a little shocked that I am a woman, correct? I don't know what the fuck to do with her voice. So she's the famed successor to Prosecutor Von Karma? I am Franziska Von Karma, the prodigy. I see. I gave up a promising career in Germany and came to this country for one sole reason. Revenge. Revenge? Isn't that her father, Manfred Von Karma? If it's something of a personal nature, I'm sure you can... I'm talking. If you interrupt again, my whip will do the speaking for me. Please speak with your mouth like a normal person. I beg of you. Ah! Make no mistake, I will defeat you. Prepare to go down, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Prosecutor Von Karma, your opening statement, please. Those of Von Karma blood have only one fate, and that is perfection. The defendant, Maya Fey, will find no escape from her guilt on my watch. Very well. What is the defense's position? Your Honor? Does the defense wish to enter a plea of not guilty? Yes. Oh boy. Foolish fool foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. 10 minutes. I give the defense 10 minutes before it changes its plea. That's right. I had you running for the justified self-defense in no time. Justified self-defense. A plea usually reserved for when a person unintentionally kills in defense of himself. We could very easily make a solid case that it was self-defense, but... The defense stands by its plea of not guilty, Your Honor. As the plea justified self-defense is to say you did kill someone. How foolish. If that's how you want to play it, Mr. Phoenix Wright, I shall now call the first witness. I don't know what the fuck to do with her voice. She's as scary as her father. Like father, like daughter, I suppose. Witness, your name and occupation. Yes, sir. My name is Dick Gumshoe, detective at the local precinct. Ah! Get to the point already! Explain to the court the details of the murder. Yes, sir. If everyone please look at this map. The channeling chamber has no windows and the door was locked shut. At the time of the murder, only the victim and the defendant were in the room. What were they doing in there? They were channeling a spirit, sir. Channeling a spirit? That's quite a look at disbelief there, Your Honor. Anyway, a few minutes after the channeling started, gunshots were heard coming from inside the room, sir. A few of the witnesses broke the door down and rushed into the room. Ah, that's when they found that the victim was already dead, correct? I believe this is one of the most open and shut cases I've ever presided over. So how was the victim killed? I was about to get to that. Stop wasting my time then. Oh boy, here we go. Back we come to you again. God, good music. The direct cause of death was a pistol shot to the forehead, sir. The shot was fired from point-blank range. Before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. The wound was very severe, but not enough to cause instantaneous death. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after the stabbing. So the victim was stabbed before being shot. This is the victim's autopsy report, sir. The court accepts it into evidence. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness. Let's begin. The murder weapon, Detective Gumshoe. Whose pistol was it? It was the victim's. The victim? Now why would he have... Why would he have a pistol? Who cares? Objection! There we go, I'll figure something out. Who cares? The point that you are missing is whose fingerprints are on the pistol. If you're not already paying attention to that, I suggest you start. Fingerprints. There were fingerprints? Along with the victims, the defendant, Maya Fey's, were also on the grip, sir. Order! So the defendant's fingerprints were left on the murder weapon. I walked right into the range there. Point blank, huh? So how about far away is that? It's anywhere between 12 to 20 inches away. And how do you know he was shot at point blank? Mr. Phoenix Wright, I grow tired of the foolery of the foolish fools of this foolish country. Excuse me? Gunpowder burn. Gunpowder burn? When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Gunpowder exploding is what makes a bullet fire, and that gets real hot, pal. And there were definitely some gunpowder burns left on the victim's forehead. I can do that. Live and learn, I guess. And we will not start singing Live and Learn. but thank you. Brain. Stabbed. What was he stabbed with? The fruit knife. I see. And whose knife was it? It looks like it belongs to the face, sir. And of course, my face fingerprints are all over it. All over it, huh? This does not look good. What will you do now, Mr. Phoenix Wright? How severe was the wound? If it had been half an inch more to the right, it would have hit the victim's heart. After a stab like that, it's impossible to fight back, let alone stand. That's how he makes it sound like mine stabbed with the intent to kill. Are you sure he was stabbed first and then shot? Yup, it sure can be. One look at the wounds and you come to the same conclusion too, pal. A fool is a fool who only listens to the foolish opinions of other foolish. A pistol shot to the forehead at point blank is certainly enough to kill instantly. Does it matter then which was first? Think a little more before you open that big mouth of yours, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What a pain. That's enough. We have clearly established how the victim was murdered. I brought the 2 murder weapons with me today. Very well, the court accepts them into evidence. Thank you. The date and time of death was June 19th. I'm losing her voice. 3:15 a.m. Eyewitnesses claim to have heard 2 gunshots at this time. And 2 murder weapons, both with the defendant's fingerprints on them, huh? This does seem like an open and shut case. Naturally. Going from bad to worse. But the summary just now wasn't oversimplifying things to the extreme. Your Honor, feel free to slam that little gavel of yours. After all, there is no room left for doubt, is there? That is quite true, Mr. Wright. Yes? Even in the face of all this, do you still wish to plead not guilty? It's the opinion of this court that if you do not just your plea, you stand to lose. See, just as I promised, Mr. Phoenix Wright, you would change your plea in less than 10 minutes. What will you do, Mr. Wright? Will you change to justified self-defense? Because now would be the time to do so. This is your final chance. It's a huge decision. I better think this through all the way. Plead not guilty because of that dream. We know about the dream thing. We know. Because of that, we know she's not guilty. Plead justified self-defense. Basically be confessing the murder. After a trial, Ma's life would be ruined. And she'd be labeled a murderer. I can't let that happen. Your Honor, have you reached the conclusion, Mr. Wright? The defense will not change its plea. We will accept nothing short of complete acquittal. You have sealed your fate, Mr. Phoenix Wright, detective! Yes, sir. Present the final portion of your testimony, the final strike. Yes, sir. Now, see here, proceedings are run by... Oh, yes, of course. Go ahead, detective, give your testimony. Don't whip me again, please. I think the court would like to hear about this other piece of incriminating evidence. Oh, boy. Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. This is the costume the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. As you can see, it's covered in blood, and there's a hole in the sleeve. The defendant attacked to kill a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back. So this is the costume. There certainly is evidence of a back spray of blood. This piece directly links my fate to the crime, sir. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Alright, Mr. Wright. Mine's fingerprint on both murder weapons and blood splattered on her clothes. Could this situation get any worse? What's wrong? You seem to be at a loss. I think this is the last piece of testimony the prosecution should have to offer. Feel free to sulk off with your tail between your legs, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Please stop calling me by my full name. It's disturbing. She can keep calling you by your full name.
Hold it!
Why didn't you say so in your testimony earlier? You're kind of scary today, you know, pal. Calm down, Mr. Wright. There is no need for that kind of attitude in my court. Alright, just please stop glaring at me like that.
Hold it!
Maya's costume. Yeah, she was wearing this costume when we arrested her. Maya, she's wearing her channeling costume today, too. Is she not allowed to wear anything else?
Hold it!
There's blood on the costume. Lab results show that it was the victim's blood. So there's blood from the victim on the defendant's clothes. Definitely not good. So are there any other clues you could glean from this piece of evidence? Well...
Objection!
If you must change the topic, then the good detective here must testify again. But too bad, not enough time. Let's move on. But yes, Miss Von Collin is perfectly correct. Now even the judge is on her side. But if I bite off more than I can chew here, what should I do? She tried to stop that before I could delve deeper. Why is Miss Von Collin suddenly putting up resistance? There must be a reason as to why she suddenly threw out an injection like that. There must be something about this costume. I just have to look harder. Mr. Wright! Miss Von Collin's logic is perfect. There's no way for you to poke a hole in it. Thank you for the nice hint, Judge. About the costume, there's a little thing. Your Honor? Actually, there is something very wrong with this piece of evidence. What? What are you talking about, pal? Where's this problem you are talking about? Come this far, there's no turning back now. The problem I have with that piece of evidence is here. The little hole.
Take that!
I asked the court to please take a look at the sleeve of this costume. The sleeve? There is a tiny hole here. A hole? But that wasn't in our bullet. Hold on. What's this around the hole? It smells faintly of gunpowder. Gunpowder? No one ever told me. A hole that smells of gunpowder. Looks like I found the hole I was looking for. Your Honor, the only logical conclusion you can make is that it must be a bullet hole. Order! This is a very grave matter. It's best we correct the court record first before anything else. Yes. Sorry about that. I guess we messed up, sir. Is she actually smiling? What else is she hiding? Pull yourself together, detective. That tiny hole doesn't change a thing. The strength of the evidence still holds. Continue with your testimony. That just now was a fluke, nothing more. How can you say something like that? This is a huge oversight. While I agree it is a mistake on the part of the police, what Prosecutor Von Collin has said is true. The evidence still stands. If you do not find a more definitive problem with the evidence, then no way. Detective Gumshoe, please continue with your testimony. Yes, sir. The defendant attacked and killed a person who was not out fighting back. Well, you just have evidence for that. He wasn't fighting back? How do you know if he was or wasn't? We can find no evidence that the victim put up any sort of struggle, pal. So did the murderer have a fight with the victim or not? Depending on this, the circumstances around this murder changed drastically. We're in real trouble now. If only I had something to prove that the victim did fight back. That Karma, she thinks she can decide the verdict with this testimony alone. I'll find a critical contradiction somehow and then I'll have her. Boom, boom, boom. Ah! Come on. Boom, boom, boom. Not fighting back? Well, why then is there a hole in the costume? That is a gun hole. A bullet hole. Detective Dick Gumshoe. Yes? Having you call me by my full name is kind of a weird feeling. You said that my client killed a person who, without doubt, was not fighting back. Yeah, I did. Then what, may I ask, is the bullet hole you police overlook supposed to mean? What does it mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means that the victim had fired off a shot. Is this what it means to not fight back? You're right! It seems you are correct. If the victim had tried to shoot the defendant, then it would change everything. Alright, the winds seem to be shifting. Ha! What is with that? Are you finished yet, laugh? Are you finished yet, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Miss Von Karma? It seems that my affair was shot at by the victim. However, that is only ground enough to support a justified self-defense plea. That is correct. But I'm sure you remember, Your Honor, what the defense clearly said. They rejected justified self-defense and pleaded not guilty. I have lost her voice. Now that you... What, that's right. Which means the defense is yet to prove anything at all. Yeah. Well, yes, that's true. Okay, see. Furthermore, just the fact that there is a bullet hole in the costume is not enough to substantiate even a plea of justified self-defense. How so? Ah! Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell the court what transpired that day. With the new information we acquired added in, of course. You mean, by myself? You want me to put together the scenario all by myself? Ah! Yes, sir, right away, sir. Oh, Jesus Christ. More testimony from Gumshoe. During challenge, the defendant saw a chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back, sir. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. The defendant then picked up on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. This scenario you have put together does make sense. Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Wright? Well, sir, that does seem to make sense. However, I won't give up that easily. Please refrain from glaring at me like that. Now then, your cross-examination, please. Yeah, there's a part that's odd there. I just gotta remember what.
Hold it!
There's quite a difference in height between Dr. Gray and the defendant. Adding body strength, and it seems unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim. Now that you mention it, I guess...
Objection!
You think you can get away with such flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix Wright? My affair was in the middle of channeling, was she not? When channeling within the current channeling technique, the medium physically changes. With the nurse's bill, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor. I don't believe it. She even studied about the current channeling technique. Like I said before, I am perfect. About what you were talking about, I didn't quite get it. Never mind, let's continue with the testimony. Judge, you are not in charge of this court. So he was stabbed, but the stab wound didn't kill him. But if you think about the blow loss, he was probably hurt pretty bad. How badly hurt would you say he was? Actually, I went to give him blood the other day, and afterward I felt a little lightheaded and dizzy. I guess the damage was maybe about 10 times the dizziness. He is dead, Detective. Sorry.
Hold it!
Where in the world did that pistol come from? It looks like the victim, Dr. Gray, had specifically brought it for that day. But a handgun? He got off the black market about 2 days before the murder. Why Dr. Gray bring a gun? He's taking precautions against something? The victim took a shot because it's too close to him. So you're saying that the bullet hole in this costume was made then? Sorry, pal, but yeah, that's what I think. The two of them are already fighting when the shot was fired. I'm really glad you weren't hurt.
Hold it!
Maya has never fired a gun before in her life. The victim had already taken off the safety. With the safety off, even an amateur like you can fire just by pulling the trigger. If it's me, I wonder. Now, do you understand? Upon comments, the logic is perfect. And then it certainly makes us look very bad. There's gotta be a contradiction in there somewhere. Covering it is going to cover the truth. I can feel it. Okay, I gotta remember what we have to actually do here. Because they were too closely missed. Victim took a shot that because they were too closely missed. There's mine increasing them. 2 shots fired. Long to the face, 5 fingerprints. There's not gunpowder on that. Shoot, god. What is this one again? But because they were too close, they missed. Which isn't right. How do I prove that again? There's Maya's increased fingerprints. Stem, chest, and shot at point blank. Stab first, then shot. Which I think contradicts the close?
Objection!
Yes, okay, logic is correct. Missing the tiny hole on this costume will be the prosecution's undoing. What do you mean? This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. You said the 2 of them were fine when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where is the gunpowder burn on this costume? Gunpowder burn? This is what you testified earlier. When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Oh! But there's not a single trace of gunpowder burn on this costume. That is a very good point. And what exactly does this mean? It means that when the shot was fired, they were standing apart from each other.
Objection!
I'm disappointed, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You think you can punch a hole in my logic with that? With the wishy-washy thinking like that, anyone can explain anything away. Then I implore you to disprove my line of thinking. Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away. And it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that?
Objection!
As if that was even possible. According to testimony, the wound from the stabbing was very severe. The victim would not have had the strength to push the defendant very far after that. So, well then... That's right, the defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, she must have put some space between the doctor and herself. Why? And while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took his shot. There, that should satisfy even you. That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Wright? That does not make sense. It does not make sense, I just need to prove why. There's a fatal flaw in your argument, Your Honor. Fatal flaw? Ow! Very interesting, I'd love to see this flaw. Show me something that contradicts my explanation. Snag an explanation somewhere. She put some distance between the Russian window and the wall. And when she was about to strike, the doctor took a shot. I think it's the screen.
Take that!
This is the piece of evidence that destroys your logic. What is that, a falling screen? I would like to point the court's attention to the hole in this falling screen. Ah! It looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Ooh, where what?
Mr. Wright, your explanation, please.
Are those two really that clueless? The bullet hole went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means, yeah, that was important. When the shot was fired, the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was actually squatting low to the ground. Order! This changes everything! Please look at this diagram in the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Ray, was here when he fired the shot, and the bullet hit this folding screen. It hit at this location about 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area, directly in front of the folding screen. She was standing here, near the folding screen. Wait a second! We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole. But how can you gauge distance from that? Isn't it possible the defendant was standing much closer to the victim? That's impossible. But why? You of all people should know the answer to that question, Miss Karma. If she were shot from somewhere closer, there would be gunpowder burns present. However, there is nothing of the sort around the bullet hole of this costume. Curse you, Mr. Phoenix Wright, you! I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing a ways from the victim when she was shot at. What do you think this changed the defendant's situation? It changes everything! Bluff to the max! Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. The prosecution claimed that the defendant was aiming to kill while standing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with the knife would be ideal. But for where and what the defendant was doing at this time, squatting all the way by the folding screen. Exactly. In my opinion, was the real murderer. Why would she be by the folding screen instead of preparing to strike? Upon further consideration, it does make very little sense. I figured there had to be a reason. Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job. Alright, with this, the rest of this trial should be in the pen. The last rating is a disaster. You were such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix Wright. To think that you've been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point. Now I know why my papa had a tougher time with you. You amuse me. I'm losing her voice. With all the things to inherit, why did it have to be the smartest smile? Detective! How dare you damage my perfect logic? Huh? How is it all my fault? You start repairing your standing by first removing that 3-strand goatee. Oh, and rest assured, your punishment will come later. Punishment? Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I could take at this detective's face. I think it's time to call in the next witness. Next witness. That's gotta be Lotta. Very well. The court will take a 5-minute recess. After we reconvene, we will hear from the next witness. To be continued, it's certainly something when the trial parts are shorter than the investigation parts. Which means, obviously, we're going to be done for now. That was a fun introduction to Franziska von Parma. And her whip. Oh boy. She's a very fun character. She's a great character. I'm glad we're going to see a ton more of her in this game. We had a lot of fun. And I went through that surprisingly very well. So that's going to be it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next part where we continue the trial. Goodbye.